Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 6, consists of four members. There are Elisa Noviani, Fajrina, Emila, Syarifah, Fitria Rahmadini, and I am Rezty Novrianoor. Here we would like to present you the materials in the title Learners Performing Tasks in a Japanese EFR Classroom, a Multimodal and Interpersonal Approach to Analysis. There are content that we will explain. The first is introduction, the second is multimodal approach, the third is methodology, the fourth is analysis, and the last is conclusion. Okay, first let me introduce myself. My name is Rezty Novrianoor. Here I would like to introduce about this analysis. This research intended with a view to better understanding classroom interaction between learners performing tasks. The motivation for the research comes from the assumption that it's not only task design that affect learning outcomes, but contextual factors such as learners' interpersonal relationships also play a vital role. Through a detailed analysis of task-based interactions between learners, researchers aimed to gain a better understanding of how their relationships with one another might affect the ways in which they perform a task, and therefore also affect potentials for learning. Jadi, penelitian ini dimaksudkan untuk lebih memahami interaksi kelas antara peserta didik yang melakukan tugas, dan motivasi dari penelitian ini berasal dari asumsi bahwa bukan hanya desain tugas yang mempengaruhi hasil belajar, tetapi faktor kontekstual seperti hubungan interpersonal peserta didik juga memainkan peran penting. Melalui analisis terperinci tentang interaksi berbasis tugas antara peserta didik, peneliti bertujuan untuk mendapatkan pemahaman yang lebih baik tentang bagaimana hubungan mereka satu sama lain dapat mempengaruhi cara mereka melakukan tugas dan karenanya juga mempengaruhi potensi untuk belajar. Okay, next is task-based pedagogy. Tasks have been used in the language classroom for over 30 years and have come to be seen as a fundamental concept in EFL teaching pedagogy, so that understanding the nature of this task has become a major concern of research on language learning. While a task-based pedagogy focuses on classroom interaction, research into the use of language learning tasks has tended to take a statistical approach that neglects analysis of concrete examples of classroom interaction. Jadi, tugas telah digunakan di kelas bahasa selama lebih dari 30 tahun dan telah menjadi konsep dasar dalam pedagogi pengajaran English Foreign Language. Sehingga memahami sifat tugas ini telah menjadi perhatian utama penelitian tentang pembelajaran bahasa. Sementara pedagogi berbasis tugas berfokus pada interaksi kelas, penelitian tentang penggunaan tugas pembelajaran bahasa cenderung mengambil pendekatan statistik yang mengabaikan analisis contoh konkret interaksi kelas. Jadi, pedagogi berbasis tugas dan penelitian penggunaan tugas pembelajaran bahasa itu memiliki perbedaan yang cukup signifikan. Next, where empirical studies have been undertaken, these have tended to focus on how task types relate to learning potentials, mostly in terms of inner cognitive processing and linguistic structures. Whilst this more statistical and cognitive approach have provided valuable insight into the nature and efficiency of language learning tasks, an increasing number of research have called for more descriptive studies with a greater emphasis on the contextual and interactional dimension of language use. Now here, it is claimed that potentials for learning are locally contingent and based upon participants' orientation to one another. Nah, dikatakan di sini bahwa potensi untuk belajar bergantung secara lokal dan berdasarkan pada orientasi peserta satu sama lain. Seperti juga yang kita rasakan, kita alami sendiri bahwa ternyata lingkungan, terutama teman-teman itu sangat berpengaruh sekali terhadap potensi belajar kita. As evidence in empirical studies that have adopted an conversation analysis approach to analyzing how classroom interaction is constructed by participants. Nah, penelitian itu juga sudah dibuktikan dalam studi empiris yang telah mengadopsi pendekatan etnometodologi atau conversation analysis untuk menganalisis bagaimana interaksi kelas dikoordinasikan oleh para peserta. Seperti itu. Okay, next will be delivered by my friends Fitria Rahmadini.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Fitria Rahmadini. I would like to continue the presentation in this section. I would like to explain about multimodal approach, ethnomethodology, and CA or conversation analysis seeks to understand how participants co-construct talk moment to moment through the detailed analysis of transcript of talk in interactions, but House 1999 claims that the language contained in transcript of the past interaction may seem impoverished and esoteric to teachers due to the participant tendency to index quality and minimalizations when completing a task. So, the participant tends to use the simple language or context-dependent language when completing a task, and so that the understanding the utterance they produce requires a thorough understanding of the context of use, which is not always easy to garner from a transcript of audio data. Jadi di sini mah menjelaskan tentang gap atau limitation dari researcher sebelumnya bahwa di sini tuh ada kesulitan dalam mengambil transkrip dari audio data. Nah, terus di sini menjelaskan bahwa the participants hanya menggunakan simple language atau bahasa sederhana yang mereka mengerti. So, the main reason for the esoteric nature of this transcript might therefore be that the often transcribed spoken utterance without much mention of the context in which they are produced, or the other modes of the communication that accompany them. Jadi istilah esoterik itu seperti bahasa yang hanya dimengerti oleh dirinya tapi belum dimengerti oleh orang lain, seperti itu. Lalu while language might often be the most significant mode of communication, it is also part of a multimodal ensemble, and communication always draws us on any numbers of modes at one time. Jadi sudah jelas ya mengapa di sini menggunakan multimodal approach, karena multimodal approach analyze what the language are used or made, dari interpretasinya, dari itunya gimana, bisa berbentuk dari gestur, interaksi, conversations, multimedia, dan sebagainya. Itu yang saya pahami tentang multimodal. And as a video recording technology has advanced and became easier to use, it is now possible to perform more detailed analysis of interaction so that may offer valuable insights into how tasks are performed by learners. Jadi di research ini the researcher memanfaatkan video recording as a tool of the task. Karena di sini tasknya itu membuat transcriptions. The next section is about student silence in Japan. One reason for adopting a multimodal approach in this study in the frequent occurrence of student silence in classroom in Japan. Whereas Western EFL teachers may view silence negatively, it is often viewed more positively in Japan, according to Mike Peck 1999, evidenced by the tendency among Japanese students to avoid oral communications. But while student silence may be more common feature of learners' classroom behavior, jadi seperti yang kita ketahui bahwa student silence itu merupakan bisa berdampak positif atau negatif. Contohnya di kita aja, menurut saya nih, student silence itu merupakan hal yang negatif karena mungkin si teacher itu bisa menganggap students itu pasif dalam pembelajaran, atau bisa jadi di pikiran si teacher itu merasa students itu mengerti tidak apa yang disampaikan sama si guru gitu. Ya seperti itulah. Tapi beda konteksnya di Jepang bahwa student silence itu bisa berdampak positif. Dan itu merupakan salah satu hal yang biasa terjadi. Nah, Morita 2004 shows that not all Japanese learners are passive in class, and that those who do utilize silence often do so as they actively engage in negotiating their identities. However, in studies of interaction that have adopted NCA approach, silence often appear as something of a black hole in the data. Tapi dalam konteks CA approach atau conversation analysis, the silence of students bisa menjadi lubang hitam dalam the data. As example, in a study of Japanese learners performing touchdown 2012 suggests that silence may perform a positive role in determining a particular group's dynamics in the classroom. But took his analysis of transcript of audio data, he does not show and is not able to show what is going on while the learners are silent. By taking a multimodal approach and analyzing the other modes that learners are utilizing to co-construct their interaction, we may be able to get a clear idea of exactly how they co-produce their identities and co-construct interaction even while silence. So the next section is about interpersonal relationship. Students' behavior and therefore test performance is affected by the social environment in which occurs. Young 2009 and students' interpersonal relationships are argued to play an important role in defining the classroom environment. Dorney M. Marpi 2003. It is claimed that natural friendship grouping among students will impact upon classroom interaction and learning, and that students' classroom behavior is often determined more by interpersonal relationships of group members than by their roles as students. So, in this paper, the researchers describe text-based interaction in a classroom in Japan from an emic and multimodal perspective in order to explore how the interpersonal relationships of learners affect their participants in tasks. Thank you.
So here I will explain about methodology. The participant of this study focus on one learner called R. R is a male, 19 years old, and have very motivated to study English. So next, there is a data interpersonal relationship. The first phase of this study involved describing the social makeup of the classroom. In attempting to describe the interpersonal relationship of the participant, the researcher utilized and refined methods described in Stone and Kidd 2011. So the first involved recording the position of student to choose to sit in at the beginning of each semester. In one semester. The second is main research tool is called relationship circle. This was designed to collect student perspective on the social relationship that exist within in classroom and was administered at the end of the first semester of the academic year. So, seperti yang bisa kalian lihat di slide berikutnya, ada figur 1 yaitu classroom setting map. Jadi di situ adalah posisi di mana siswa memilih untuk duduk pertama kalinya selama 1 semester. Kemudian di figur 2 itu adalah relationship circle, di mana siswa setelah hasil analisis, di mana siswa diminta untuk menulis dengan siapa mereka merasa nyaman selama di kelas atau merasa dekat untuk bersosialisasi di kelas selama 1 semester. Kemudian di figur 3 ada kombinasi dari figur 1 dan figur 2. Combine with the setting maps to produce a sociometric diagram that researcher is illustrate the social makeup of the class. So next, there is data multimodal interactional analysis. The approach to analyze adopted in this paper borrows heavily from the methodological framework described by Norris 2004, 2008, and 2011. Norris multimodal interaction analysis attempts to describe and analyze how interactions are co-constructed by participants through a situation, interplay of modes, process video, record and analyze learners performing tasks, subsequently producing multimodal transcript of the video recordings to facilitate the interactional analysis. Following Norris 2004 methods of transcription, this involved describing the use of different modes: prosemic, gaze, posture, gesture, head movement, layout, and proximity. By taking screenshot of the video at the relevant point, so that when viewed together in the screenshot describe the unfolding of action in time. Following Norris 2004 in analyzing classroom interaction and attempting to get the inner thoughts and feeling that the participants are expressing, but rather the thoughts and feeling they are expressing. So that's all from me. Next material will be explained by my friends. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Elisa Noviani. I will explain about the result of the analysis of this research. In the expert 1, using the May 1987 description of open-closed limb position, we can see that our body posture is closed, with his arm pulled across his body and his leg crossed underneath the table, while A and M posture are more open. M legs are also crossed, but they reach out towards A, whereas R are tucked away underneath his body. According to Norris 2004, the positioning of feet can give insight into a person's mind focus. Here, I and M feet point toward each other, while R are turned away under his chair. As directional positioning of the body towards someone else generally indicates some kind of engagement with them. According to Norris 2004, we can summarize R is somewhat disengaged, while they are constructing their identities as students by sitting in the classroom, reading a classroom handout, following teacher instruction, and so on. R and M mutual engagement, as indicated in their body language, can be seen as also constructing their identities as friends. In the third picture, A used rising intonation on Y, indicating that she has finished her turn to talk and is opening the conversational floor up to the another participant. But she does not explicitly nominate the next speaker, so that either R or M has the right to take the next turn. She does, however, lift her head, smile, and gaze towards M. During the subsequent 5 seconds of silence, throughout which either R or M might take the floor, R lifts his left hand to his chin and continues to gaze at the question on the paper, keeping his right arm as a barrier across his body. The chin stroke gesture that he performed is described as a decision-making signal, according to Kinsey Goldman 2008, suggesting that he is engaged in thought and therefore not available for interaction. Neither A nor M looks at R at this moment, while M does not look up from the paper either. She demonstrates that she is contemplating her response with the non-lexical token This demonstrates that she is actively and non-verbally participating in the interaction, while allowing her time to formulate her response. In the expert 2, R, maintaining his close body posture, crossed arms and legs throughout his turn, directing his gaze at the paper handout on the desk as he speaks. The pause start, pauses, non-lexical tokens, and slower speech on influence, indicating that he is having trouble producing his turn. In the picture 3, M looks at A, and in the picture 4, A returns and gaze so that they are looking at each other as R finishes his turn. After R finishes, so in the above transcript, A subselects herself as the next speaker. As he speaks, she maintains her mutual gaze with M. That is, once the business of our turn is complete, A and M then look at him, focusing instead on each other. A and M open body language and continual gazing at one another suggests that they are engaged with one another, whereas our close body language and gazing at the paper suggests that he is less engaged. This reflects their respective positioning in the asymmetric diagram, which show that A and M are in a friendship group together, while R is not in their group. Excerpt 3. This time, when focusing where to sit, R has not elected to position himself on the periphery of the group as he did in the excerpt 1 and 2. But he sat down opposite the other participant so that they are both facing him, making him much more visible to them than he was to A and M before. He also chose not to fold his arms or legs, instead placing his hand on the desk in front of him, in a posture that mirrors the. Although this is a little difficult to see in the transcript, She assumes that conversational flow and start the discussion by reading the question from the paper. As A starts reading, he looks up at R before glancing back down at the paper. R, who like G, had been looking down at the paper in front of him, looks up and returns his gaze. He then nods his head back and forth 5 times as S continues to read the question, demonstrating that he is intending to talk and also indicating his affirmative interpretation on this statement. As S finishes reading the question, he once again looks up at R, who again returns his gaze. As he just completed a turn to talk and host the conversational flow, as has next speaker nominating rights, and he now verbally nominates R to speak. The last, in the expert 3 and 4, unlike excerpt 1 and 2, we can see how R is taking an active role by exchanging gaze, gesturing, verbally nominating the next speaker, and signaling that he is paying attention with non-verbal back channel. Our posture is also much more open than it was in the expert 1 and 2. The other participant, particularly S, also orient to R more than A and M did before, demonstrating engagement with him through both verbal and nonverbal modes. R, S, and T all belong to the same friendship group according to the sociometric diagrams, while membership of this friendship group is obviously influenced by gender. This is not the only determining factor, as other male students in the class were not identified as belonging to this group. And we might assume that R, more often posture and engaged attitude, is at least partly a result of this. It is also possible that the gender of the participant is of some importance, as R was the only male in the excerpt 1 and 2, while there are no females in excerpt 3 and 4. It might also be possible that R is more confident performing test analysis in excerpt 3 and 4 due to the experience of performing the test analysis in excerpt 1 and 2. However, as the two initiating of the test were only 1 week apart, I would suggest that while increasing confidence may partly explain our more active performance, this would be not suspicion to the change. It is also clear in the expert that S and R is more engaged than either A or M. And we might assume that it's not related to any increase in confidence R may not have had. That's all from me. Thanks. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, and the last is conclusion. A multimodal interaction analysis affords us a useful window on what is happening when students are attempting to perform a task. Although language is still a central concern, it is clear that non-verbal modes of communication are just as important in the construction of interaction and task performance. Even when silent, learners are busy giving off and receiving interactional meaning. It also seems that students' interpersonal relationships will affect task performance and as such should be a concern of practicing language teachers when assigning students to groups in the classroom. Okay, maybe that's all from us. Thank you for watching our video. Please give your comment or questions. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.